Thank you for being on the inaugural part of my podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
And
much.
it's Sigursteinn Masson.
And actually Robert in the middle, in
Oh,
between.
Well, that's a good name. Yeah. Well,
That's
wait.
easier.
I need to put that on my notes. Robert in the middle, because I like that name for some reason. There we go. So can you kind of tell me the origin of your name? Kind of.
Well, Sigur means basically victory and State means stone.
Oh.
There are a lot of stones in my family on the mother side,
Mhm.
but I'm the only like victory stone.
Oh. Okay. Good. Okay. And Másson, is that
Yeah, so
Mason?
I would. That's basically Mar, like the sea.
Okay.
So yeah, that would some victory stone, son of the sea. Yeah.
Nice. Very appropriate for Iceland, I would think. So,
Yeah, we have a long and partly very strange name.
yeah, it's all good though. So I appreciate you being on the podcast,
Thank you.
and you've done a lot of really interesting things. And so from being a journalist, uh, single-handedly changing kind of the criminal system with a documentary. Well, at least getting people to
Yeah, nobody does anything alone.
no, no. But you highlighted some issues
Mm,
that they decided to at least start to address.
right.
Is that fair to say?
You can say
So, true crime documentaries.
that.
You're currently a representative of the International Fund for Animal Welfare, and you're campaigning hard for the end of whaling because Iceland is one of 3 countries that still allow commercial whaling. And and you've had obviously audiobooks, and you've written 3 books, and you've done a lot of interesting things. So what I'd like to kind of do is kind of start at the beginning. Wherever you want to start at the beginning, from the journalism all the way to what you're doing now, and kind of how you got to where you are. Does that make sense?
Yes,
In your
sure,
words.
sure. Um, well, uh, I started very young as a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
First in radio.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was only 20 or 20. Yeah, I was 20 when I started in radio.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, when I started working for television, I thought that would sort of be my career for the rest of my life because I felt really good about that job.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing factual stories to people and working in TV was also, for a young person like me, it was very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it lasted for 6 years. Um, at that time, I had started working on a documentary film about the most controversial criminal case in Icelandic history. Double homicide was it supposed to be? 6 people convicted for that. And when I started looking into that case, a lot of strange things appeared. It was obviously not as it had been presented. Big mistakes, if you can call it mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
or deliberate, even um, that by the police to take this investigation into very strange directions. So, to me, it became clear that a severe miscarriage of justice had happened. And that basically changed everything for me. I lost my job as a TV journalist. There were people who did not like what I was doing. And of course, it was consuming me, this case,
Mm-hmm.
as I went further and deeper into it. Um, so, yes, a lot of things happened as a consequence. I was hospitalized at a mental hospital
Mm-hmm.
for the first time in my life when I was 29.
Mm-hmm.
And as a consequence of this investigation, this criminal case, because it had become so big
Mm-hmm.
and basically all the justice system, the political system, media, etc., that was responsible had failed dramatically
Hmm.
in this case. So I lost confidence in my society, in my country,
Mm-hmm.
in the safety and security that I had always taken for granted,
Mm-hmm.
and that had impact on my mental health
Mental
as
health,
well.
sure.
Yeah. So it was a determining factor that I started investigating this
Mm-hmm.
old criminal case
Mm-hmm.
that happened in 1974.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Determining factor in the sense that I lost my job as a TV journalist, so I did not continue with that.
Mm-hmm.
It changed my health situation.
Yes.
After that, I had to take that into consideration, my sleep and
Mm-hmm.
um, work, and communication, social things, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
and nutrition and exercises. So that changed my life also. Gave me insight into things that I probably would never have had unless this happened.
Sure.
But also, this case, this investigation, and the documentaries that followed, they established me, I think, in the society as
Mm-hmm.
an investigative journalist, particularly on crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still doing that. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
doing documentary films on crimes, and I'm doing audiobooks as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that changed my life.
Yeah. So when so the case kind of got dropped in your lap. Somebody came with you a bunch of pages, and you started reviewing them, and you noticed all the inconsistencies, and it started consuming you. And you brought more things to light, people who didn't necessarily like that decided that, well, we don't want you to do that. If you're going to do it, then we don't want you around, basically. And since it was all consuming, it really um, what you thought society was like versus you society likes to think it is was different, and it brought you to have a mental health crisis, shall we say.
Right.
And what's fascinating to me from that part is now, as you go through life, you judge who's in your life, what tasks and things you take on to make sure that you stay in balance with who you are and what you like to do. Is that
Yes. Of course, I had to find out who I was after those episodes,
Mhm.
because I didn't know if I was suddenly very sensitive to pressure,
Mhm.
to what sort of work I was doing.
Yeah.
Would I have to do just easy work after that?
Mhm.
But I found out that it had very little to do with that. So manic depression that I developed
Mhm.
as a consequence of this
Mhm.
work, um, it basically came alive, or I could feel the symptoms if I was among dishonest people, or if I felt
Interesting.
that my sort of sense of right and wrong, justice, was being
Uh-huh.
attacked. If you know what I mean.
Yes.
So I mean, I've been doing a lot of very stressful work since this happened,
Mhm.
under a lot of pressure, and dealing with really ugly criminal cases. That does not impact me negatively, my mental health at all.
Mhm.
But if I'm if my collaborators, if the people who are working with me,
Got it.
if I feel that they are not being honest with me, or if things are not right,
Mhm.
around me,
Mhm.
that is what weakens me.
Okay. And I assume you've gathered a group of friends around you who are supportive and are authentic, I guess is a good
Yeah,
word, so
yeah,
that they are who they are.
yeah. I have
And
few friends,
Mhm.
but very good ones.
Mhm.
Where I know where I stand and where they stand toward
Mhm.
me. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
So the turning point was that the mental health crisis, and that also got you into working with animals too, right?
Yeah,
If I recall.
it is true. Yes, because I after my episodes, I had 3 episodes where I
Hmm.
needed to go to mental hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And when the third one happened, 1999,
Mm-hmm.
then I thought I really need to make sense of what is happening to me, what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I entered the Icelandic Mental Health Alliance,
Mm-hmm.
became soon chairman of that for about a decade. And during that time, um, I got to know a lot of people who had mental illnesses
Mm-hmm.
or mental disorders,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to know the system very well that I did not know very well before, and
Mm-hmm.
all the flaws of the system actually, and that was really really interesting. And try to come up with um, programs and policy
Mm-hmm.
to help basically the government
Mm-hmm.
and the health administration
Sure.
to change their policy. Um, but at the same time, I felt that there would be a hollow, if you like, tone in my work and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my project for human welfare if I was only thinking of my own species. If I wouldn't take it into context
Mm-hmm.
with other species. And I was lucky that the International Fund for Animal Welfare approached me, and I started working with them as a contractor on limited work,
Mm-hmm.
2003. So
Mm-hmm.
that's 21 years ago, and I'm still in good contact with IFAW, and they're doing a good job all around the world, particularly with elephants in Africa. But they have also been very consistent in and strategic in this approach here in Iceland, and they have understood that when you are changing something like the whaling policy of a
Yes.
country
Yes.
where whaling has taken place for more than 400 years, you have to approach it sensitively and take into the account the culture and the feelings, the local feelings.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me, I did a little reading. I read one article that said about only 1.7% of Icelanders eat whale meat.
Right.
It's more the tourists that eat it.
Yeah.
But again, you have to get around very powerful families
Yeah.
in order to affect change,
Yeah.
and that's the challenge. If it was just left up to, I think, the average Icelander, they
Yeah.
would be more than happy to say, yeah, we'll just stop it.
Actually, for the last 6 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
majority of those who have answered the
Mm-hmm.
opinion polls
Mm-hmm.
say they oppose whaling,
Mm-hmm.
commercial whaling. So this is not supported by majority of the country, like some people think. It's very far from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people have understood that. I think most people have understood that this is a part of the past,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's an interesting history, somewhat an ugly one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we should not be necessarily ashamed of that history.
Mm-hmm.
But there's time to move on.
I agree. It makes sense. All countries had whaling,
Yes.
and it's just when was the time when they finally exited
Yeah.
from it, and well, hopefully that'll
Yes.
bear fruit and be no longer part of Iceland's future, shall we say.
I think that's around the corner now.
That's excellent. And so actually, I want to go back a little bit because what I found interesting when we chatted before is the mental health system is really separate from the health system, it sounds like, in Iceland. Is that true or not?
Well,
or is it better,
yes
closer
and no.
now?
We have it is segregated in that sense that the mental health care has been divided from the public health care.
Mm-hmm.
The first line of healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
where you have the health clinics.
Yes.
It's all run by the state.
Mm-hmm.
Even those few clinics that are private, they are paid by the state as well.
Okay.
So it's all public. But for some reason, the mental health system has always been a special system, and that is something that I think is a fundamental error. That we should integrate it into all aspects of health
I agree,
and social
100%.
services
Mm-hmm.
as well. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's very very important to do that. And I had the opportunity to go to Trieste and see how they changed the mental health care in Italy, in northern Italy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I went with the head of the Icelandic mental health system here,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hoping that that trip would lead to changes, because there, what the doctors,
Mm-hmm.
the healthcare staff, along with the patients,
Mm-hmm.
the patient organizations did, was that they closed down on those mental health institutions as they were. They closed down mental hospitals.
Okay.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did was they opened open units. So they have now people who are on scooters
Mm-hmm.
going where people are, instead of people having to come to.
Interesting. That's very different. Okay.
Yeah. So they are going into parks, and they're going into apartments and areas,
Mm-hmm.
and meeting people where they are,
Mm-hmm.
on their terms. Involuntary hospitalization is not allowed in Trieste.
Okay.
You have to negotiate with the person about coming to the clinic, and then it's an open door policy there.
Hmm.
So if you go in there, you always know that you can walk out whenever you like to. This is, of course, a revolutionary approach, and in some cases, this can be, of course, very hard when
Mm-hmm.
you have particularly the extreme cases.
Yes.
But as a general practice, to have small units
Mm-hmm.
where people, units that could be in a house like this,
Yes. Group
where
home.
people feel
Little home. Yeah.
welcome and
Yes.
and can better get better.
Mhm. That's nice. Okay. That's fascinating. I like that. Um, Mental health is a big issue all across the world. And I think with phones and social media, it's even gotten worse because people are more isolated.
Yeah.
And I like that in Italy, they go to the people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who refuse to leave.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of stuck there. And I really like that.
Yeah.
So tell me about your work-life balance. I know we talked a little bit about it before, but kind of explain to me how that works for Sigursteinn.
Well, sometimes I don't feel that I have much maybe private life or much time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, and particularly during COVID and after COVID, I have sort of, I think, found a way to have a better balance for this. And I do it a lot by remote working.
Mm-hmm.
I find it often easy to do it that way, that to combine work and vacation, work and pleasure,
Okay.
in the same day, even in the same hour. So because I'm a writer,
Mm-hmm.
I write scripts and books, and
Yes.
I do those documentaries. I have flexible hours,
Yes.
flexible working hours.
Yes.
So I can basically design this, and this can be tricky, of course, because sometimes you feel, oh, I should be working now, and you cannot maybe relax totally in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You feel guilty or something. But I'm better at it now to I think find this balance.
I would think it would help with your creative process because you do heavy mental work, and then if you have a little play or pleasure, it's still going on in the back of your brain, but you're doing other fun stuff and you're allowing it to kind of I would coalesce. I would just think if you're on deadline, that's when it gets stressful. If you have a deadline to end, that's the hard part.
And
I would
I
think.
need to make myself deadlines, even if I don't have some
Mm-hmm.
clear deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
I make myself deadlines,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise
it doesn't
the
get
vacation
done.
part and the pleasure part will be too big.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I think also during the last years, I've been very occupied with refugee issues.
Mm-hmm.
And now there are about between 20 and 30 refugees here who I have been helping, and and are now safe in Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my time, besides my work, has been about socializing with them, helping them
Mm-hmm.
to adjust to the society. And of course, there are a lot of things that
Mm-hmm.
people from
Yes.
Afghanistan. It's like you can hardly think of more different countries than Iceland and Afghanistan
Yes.
in almost every sense. So that has also kept me occupied. I think for myself, I think that I need to feel that a lot of my time and also a big part of my spare time
Mm-hmm.
is being used for something that matters to me, and
Mm-hmm.
that um, brings something good to somebody, whether it is animals or people.
People. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you have your time you spend, and so that's really the happiness quotient, right?
Mm.
You're doing things that you love to do, I
Yeah.
assume,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Unless you hate what you do, but it doesn't seem like it.
No, I'm lucky. I'm really lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being of service, so you do what you love to do, and part of it's creative, right? Doing documentaries and everything is very creative,
Yeah.
and um, and then from there, having issues that matter
Mm.
is important to you,
Yeah.
service, and trying to have some social good,
Yeah.
whatever that means, and mental health,
Yeah.
whether it's for that or whether it's for whaling
Yeah.
or animal welfare. And that really is the piece that really resonates with you.
Yeah, I think that after I sort of lost totally ground
Mm-hmm.
in the late '90s,
Yes.
and with my episodes, my mental
Sure.
episodes at that time, I had to have a new meaning. I had to find a new meaning for my existence and a
Mm-hmm.
reason, for me to exist and where I could be going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Exactly that, because I found out that I was vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Before, very young TV journalist, I thought that was invincible, like, I could conquer the world
Sure.
basically. But then I found out this way, the hard way, if you can say, that I was breakable. Um, but so uh, I I need to feel that there's a purpose uh, for me, not just to continue,
Mm-hmm.
but to take steps that really matters to others, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a purpose greater than just you,
Yes,
a
it
greater
cannot be
good.
all about me
Mm-hmm.
or my family or
Mm-hmm.
people closest to me. I have to, I sometimes think, uh, if we could all think uh, that our responsibilities are, of course, to our family and the
Mm-hmm.
closest ones,
Yeah.
but our responsibilities are way beyond that, and particularly to people who we don't know, we have no background with, or we have no connection with, because that's also something that will maybe make the biggest
Mm-hmm.
changes, also for yourself, I think. So, like with those refugees, I look at them as my children, or
Mm-hmm.
brothers, sisters, nephews. That they're their family,
Mm-hmm.
um, no less than my blood family.
So if you had somebody who's trying to figure out their meaning for their life, what are some tips you have?
Well, volunteer. I think,
Volunteer,
yeah, I
okay?
think that's very important. You at least with something, uh, one cause that is really close to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes every people a better person to volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
I understand very well that I'm in a situation as a gay man who lives alone,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have children, um, and I'm never going to have children of my own. That I have much more freedom, if you like, and time
Mm-hmm.
to um, to help other people who are not related to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that people who have maybe 4 or 5 kids, or 3 kids, or even
Mm-hmm.
one kid is a lot of work. That
Yeah,
that they maybe cannot find the time I can
sure.
for this.
Yeah.
But nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something.
Yes.
And this something,
Mm-hmm.
to define it.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do that where my heart is really there,
Yeah.
and where I can possibly do make a difference.
Okay. So volunteer, something close to your heart,
Yeah,
and that will help a person identify more who they are and what
yeah,
they can do for the greater good and population,
yes.
right?
And that, along with the good sleeping, the nutrition, and exercise, this is the best mental health prevention, really.
So where did you get the sleeping, eating, and exercise? Was it as you went through the mental health? Did somebody just tell you about it, or did you develop it out of your own?
Yes, I learned from other people about that.
Okay.
I did not know about like the happy hormones and the
Yes,
brain,
yes.
how it all works.
Dopamine.
Yeah, dopamine. I had no idea about any of this.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, this was a lucky thing for me
Mhm.
to go into. I think it's also important when something like this happens to you,
Mhm.
not to be bitter, and regretful or something about it, but
Mhm.
rather look for what it has taught you, what it has
Yes.
brought to you.
Look for the good,
Yeah,
because it's too easy to say, "Oh, I got hurt on this, and I'm never
yeah,
going to do it again." Versus, I got hurt on this. What did it show me so that I can
yes,
grow and be a bigger and better person?
absolutely. I mean, I had
Mhm.
some horrible doctors, like mental doctors, that
Mhm.
did bad things in the beginning.
Mhm.
But it was only when I was not, didn't feel any anger or any bitterness
Mhm.
toward
Yes.
them, when I felt that I could write about it properly, and write a book about it.
Yes.
And I think that this is very important.
Mhm.
That you, yeah, you have survived something,
Mhm.
and you don't feel any hate, anger, or bitterness.
Separation.
Yeah,
I For myself, I like forgiveness for that. Forgiveness is never for the person; it's always for you.
absolutely.
And I find when I forgive somebody, it changes my emotions towards it.
Yeah,
And
it can be hard, and
yeah,
you
of
have to mean
course,
it to
of
yourself.
course. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I forgive you. No, I don't. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's so true. That's just really, really true. So, if there's one thing that you'd like to communicate to people, what would it be?
Um, I think we all have this inner compass, um, which we can think, relates or connects to whether we think there is an almighty or not,
Mm-hmm.
or for me, it's nature, which is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we are directed all the time uh, what is right and what is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can follow it 100%, but we can never be perfect. But I think it is a little bit like with eating. You can
Yes.
eat 90% healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then allowing yourself, like the 10%.
I understand. 100% do I understand that. Yes, I agree. So really everybody has their own inner compass. So if they listen to themselves, they can kind of feel, oh, this feels good. I kind of expand over here.
Yeah,
Oh, over here it's kind of contraction. So that's probably my body doesn't like that. So
absolutely.
it's probably not where I want to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing compass, and it doesn't fail us if we are sober, and
Mm-hmm.
if we are if we are if we have slept well, if
Mm-hmm.
we are sober,
Mm-hmm.
and if we are calm, then it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't fail us.
Mm-hmm. And it can be developed. You have to feel it first
Yeah,
and then keep feeling it, and you'll notice it more and more, I would imagine.
right,
Right?
right,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, good. Anything else you want to say? Final?
No, just thank you. It's good talking to you.
Oh, it's a pleasure talking to you too. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.